Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the regular stated board meeting of September 9th, 2025 for the Arcata Fire Protection District Board of Directors. Everybody, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we get a roll call, please?
Director Manhunter.
Here.
Absent. Director Mendoza.
Here.
Director Rosenslider.
Here.
President Akon.
Here. Okay. And moving into public comment and association reports. Is there anything from the local 491?
Wait, we need to back up one spot. We have to approve the agenda.
Oh, sorry. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? I'll motion.
I'll second.
With the motion and second, will the clerk please call roll?
Plain Mayor.
Yes.
And for Vice President Mendoza.
Yes.
Rosenslider.
Yes,
Yeah. Thank you, Chief. Now, do we have anything from local 491?
Yes, sir. So the one item that we attached this month, to your board report is a video link on YouTube that I thought was very pertinent for today's, time and current events. While I was trying to think of something clear and concise to write in there, I just decided to send the link. And if you don't mind, I'll read the abstract from the study. Very good. In order to balance community expectations with limited resources, the fire service and community leaders require scientific data that quantifies the effects of changes in fire service deployment on the safety of the public and firefighters. This report, along with the companion report on residential fireground experiments, establish a technical basis for deployment of resources to fireground events with varying levels of underlying hazards. Results are presented for 48 field experiments and 48 computer simulations that collectively quantify the impact of differing crew size deployments, 3, 4, 5, and 6-person crews, different alarm assignments, and different vertical response modes on occupant survivability, firefighter safety, and property protection for 4 potential high-rise fire response scenarios. For the high-rise fireground experiments, a 13-story vacant commercial building was acquired in Crystal City, Virginia. Props were built within the structure to closely resemble an occupied workplace, including a mixture of employees, cubicles, and private offices. Fire crews from 13 metropolitan Washington, D.C. area departments were deployed in response to simulated fires within the facility. In addition to systematically controlling for the arrival times and fire apparatus, crew size, alarm size, and vertical response mode were varied. Each deployment performed a series of 38 tasks that were timed. In addition to the time to task portion of the study, fire modeling was used to correlate on task completion by crew size, alarm size, and vertical response mode to the degree of toxicity of the atmosphere in the structure for a range of fire growth rates. That is the entire abstract. We stumbled upon this last month through some training that we were doing after walking through the new Cal Poly dorms, and figured that was very relevant for everything that we're dealing with right now. It's about 50 minutes long. So for us, it went by very quickly. Very, very interesting data that was in there. They do have several spokespeople for each party that was participating in the study. That ranges from union leadership, metropolitan fire chiefs, members from the National Institute of Science and Technology who conducted the experiments. I figured for this is a better time than any to, once we have the information, share it with you guys. what we have for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's very appropriate.
Do you have any, did they have any brief conclusions?
In the video, that's effectively what they discuss is all of the results from each study that are clearly put into graphs and other visual aids to clearly communicate the results, the key takeaways from that study.
Okay, thank you. So you're recommending that we go watch the video?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. And the Arcata Volunteer Fire Association.
Good evening, Larry Wood, Arcata Fire Volunteer Fire Association Board. You have the report, it was presented as part of the packet. I'm mainly here if you have any questions, and just to highlight one or two small things. The California Fireground Foundation approved the funding for the drone for about $18,000, which I think is a pretty cool project. We're already in some discussion on the changing hats on the VLU side about trying to become operators of that to help free up the fire suppression people if we can fly the drone. We'll see where that goes in the future, but that's exciting news for all of us, I think. And then at the bottom, this year's holiday celebration is November 14th at the Six Rivers Lodge, Masonic Lodge. And in April, we're trying to do the awards banquet. So again, it's in your packet. I don't want to reiterate stuff you can clearly see, but if you have any questions for the association, I will do my best to answer. If not, moving on.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between CPR and first aid compared to BLS?
ELS is typically listed for as a CPR component. It's basic life support. So you will have like CPR, and then you'll have different levels of it. And the BLS is a certification level like for healthcare providers versus paramedics, EMT, et cetera. Versus standard first aid, which is a medic first aid program, more bleeding control, bandaging, packaging kind of stuff.
And how big is the drone?
That's to be determined by the district with what they do with the grant and what they want to buy. Again, it's $18,000, but if you get a 16-foot or 18-inch, I have no idea.
I have no knowledge about drones. I don't know what 18,000 will get you.
A nice one, a nice high-def camera and several spare batteries, and so. But again, that will be something that the district will purchase with the grant. Punt. Any other
That's
questions?
the other question, one of the questions I had.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Anybody else from the public who would like to comment?
Good evening, Gregory Daggett. I have just a few comments about tomorrow's meeting at 3 o'clock. That's the standards of coverage. The first thing is that I'm the only person who wrote a letter to the city regarding that. And I was told that you all received that, and I don't know whether that's accurate or not. But if not, I can email it, or you could go to the city's website under the agenda and you'll see a letter with my concerns about the standard of the coverage report. So I don't seem to be nodding, so the feeling you didn't see it.
I don't think so.
And the other thing is, I looked at the minutes from the last time when that chaotic meeting was supposed to happen, where you were going to receive that. And I noticed that the minutes identified different city and state organizations, and I didn't see anybody from Cal Poly. So is that accurate? That they were not there at the last meeting?
They were present, they just were not at the main table.
Oh, okay, so they were there then.
They were there.
Okay, yeah, the minutes just didn't identify that they were there, so I just was wondering, like, tomorrow, are they showing up?
They should be, because I spoke to them.
Yeah, because that's, you know, they're a big part of that, and it's an opportunity for the public and for yourself to gain some more insight. The other thing also, I mentioned that, I mean, you probably all know Fred Weiss, and he's updated his website. He has sort of, after the gateway was passed, last August, he sort of stopped. So this, standards of coverage, has generated some new articles that, I suggest you take a look at. And the last thing was, it's on your, agenda tonight. You have the coastal element. There's some important dates that are coming up. October 15th, the planning commission is going to possibly approve that, and then the council the next day. So there's a little bit of a time frame. They didn't really go into detail why. They were going to vote on it a couple of months ago, but it was delayed with some concerns from the coastal commission staff. And so those are the dates. I didn't really get any clarity if somebody shows up and asks questions on exactly what's going on, but I just wanted you to be aware of those dates because it's on your agenda and you may be wanting to get your input definitely into, very important thing that's going to go through the coastal commission with your concerns on, the fire districts, from the 4 stories to 7 stories in that area. So you'll definitely have a different, instead of having the council make a decision on something, which you probably have been disappointed possibly with their vote on that, you're going to have the coastal commission, which is a much more larger organization with different rules. So I would really try to find out what all their laws are in that. Thank you.
Sir, I'm taking notes. Can you spell your last name for me, please?
Daggett, Daggett.
Thank you. Thank you. And Chief, I'll ask somebody to verify, he mentioned the 14th in our packet on that item. It says the 15th, so please verify the different date.
One of the planning commission and the 15th is the council.
Okay.
So the 14th is
Is the
planning commission.
Okay, thank you. Any other public members that would like to speak? Thank you very much. Moving on to the consent calendar. At any time during the regular session, the board may adjourn to, I'm sorry. We're moving on to closed session. At any time during the regular session, the board may adjourn to closed session to consider existing or anticipating litigation, liability claims, real property negotiations, license and permit terminations, threats to security, public employee appointments, personal matters, evaluations, and discipline, labor negotiations, or to discuss legal counsel matters within the attorney-client privilege. So tonight we do have some matters on the closed session, so we will adjourn to closed session at this time.
You're unmuted.
Okay, we're back in closed session. It is now 7:27. We gave direction to the chief and to our labor negotiator. That's what we're referring to. Picking up where you left off, moving on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar items are considered routine and are acted upon by the board with a single action. Members of the audience wishing to provide public input may request the board remove the item from the consent calendar. Comments may be limited to 3 minutes. Any board members want to remove any items from the consent calendar? Member of the public? Do we have any corrections?
Yes. Good segue. So it was identified that from the regular board meeting minutes from August 12th, we need to correct the call to order. As President Arcata was not present, it was actually called to order by Vice President Johnson. And then also under the Pledge of Allegiance, it was Vice President Johnson that led it. And I believe that was the only corrections that we had, right?
That's the only thing I saw, yes. Okay, with those corrections, I will entertain motions if anybody wants to make some.
I'll have a motion that we accept the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, with a motion and a second to accept the consent calendar, will the clerk please call roll?
Minor,
Yes.
Johnson absent, Mendoza,
Yes.
Loudon,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, moving on to district business. First item is Cal Poly Training and Services discussion. Pete, you have a?
Sure. At the August Board of Directors meeting, staff informed the board that the Arcata Fire District would not be providing non-emergent services at Cal Poly Humboldt. This was based on previous board action and a letter issued to Cal Poly Humboldt in October of 2023, following the cancellation of an ancillary contract by Cal Poly Humboldt. Following the August board meeting, Director Maynard requested that the topic be placed on the agenda for discussion. Staff recommends that the board consider information provided, take public comment, discuss the topic, and provide direction to staff.
Thank you, Chief. Any board members have some discussion items?
I do. Yeah, so I wanted it, somehow we need to determine which events that we are going to do up there and which events we are not. I think any training, event that happens up there, we need to be a part of. I think it's a miss on our part that, we were not there for, the freshman, what
The housing room.
yeah, the housing drill. I think that benefits both them and us, and staff knowing, what's going on and how they're gonna work with those people up there. So, I think that was a miss on our part. So I would like to see that we have it in writing, what we are going to do and not do. And if we have something like that already in place, I think it should be updated, so that we know.
We don't have anything in place per se. But whatever the direction is of the board.
That was my feeling.
Any other board members have comments?
Well, I'm just, I feel like this isn't anything that we did. The university pulled the plug on that issue. And I think that if we're gonna do anything, perhaps if we have a new, maybe if we have a new relationship with the university, that maybe see about getting that contract back. You know, just being the historian here, I've been around a while. So we started out on December 2nd, 2022, at a 19-page letter that we sent to we hired a planner and we sent to the California Polytechnic University in Humboldt.
And this was part of the draft environmental impact report. And we had 19 pages that we sent to them. And that was kind of our position about the university building the tall buildings. We also had a meeting. I think, as I was told, we ruffled feathers. I was told by university personnel that we were airing dirty laundry by having these conversations here. And my response was that we were just discussing our concerns, and we have to have these discussions in public. And we can't have them in the back room, so to speak. And then we had the August 23rd, 2023 letter from Cal Poly Humboldt, subject notice of agreement cancellation, agreement 1125788MY. And it was said that this agreement shall be terminated as follows in accordance with agreement section 7. Termination of this agreement shall terminate effective 90 days from this written notice on November 18th, 2023. And then we had the letter from our fire chief at the time, Chief Justin McDonald, that listed all of the things that that contract covered that would not be, that they were taking away. So I think if we're going to, I agree that it's important to have this training, but on the other hand, it's beneficial for the university stopped it. So I would be in favor of trying to see if we can reset that contract again. And I don't know why perhaps they might, this contract is put in place by, I was around at that time too. There was Joyce Lopes, spelled Lopes. She was the vice president at Humboldt State University at the time. And it was her way of she acknowledged that the university was unable to pay its fair share for fire services to the 5 communities that we serve. That was her way of saying, well, at least we can do this. And that's where that contract came from. And so these ancillary little things, like the beginning of the year, the dorm, smoke. So that was how it was done in the past. It could be done differently, I suppose, but just after the university just pulled the plug, I would not be for just suddenly just saying, oh, okay. Because it was their action, it wasn't our action.
I agree. And I, in my view, I think we should charge them for every single ancillary service that they need to be paying for. But I just want to make sure that we're not hindering ourselves by not going to specifically training events like that orientation type event.
Well, we heard tonight that they've already been to the residence halls and they've had a training that didn't preclude the training session at the residence.
No, but you're right, but I don't even think the chief was actually aware that they had gone up there for that training.
That they had done the walkthrough.
Yeah, I'm saying that we should have something in writing as to what we're going to do and not do, so that we don't hamstring ourselves by not doing some of these trainings.
And correct me if I'm wrong, having sent 2 kids off to other universities, I've been to out of town university, I've been to those events, and the fire department and the police department the local fire department, police department come to these events so that, it reassures the parents and it kind of shows the students, gives them a sense of safety. The ones that I've attended this years ago when I worked for the ambulance, so it's probably changed a lot, but the similar events that I have attended one in San Luis Obispo and one in another community, is that they really weren't training in as much as they were just kind of a show of resources. But correct me if I'm wrong.
So I've thought about this a little bit after the last meeting, and I'm not clear what all we do in every situation up there, but I've thought that having our crews go through all those buildings, pull hoses through them, whatever it is that you guys are allowed to do, and familiarize yourselves with them is independent of being a leader, critical element in training the university staff. I see those as two different things. And so I think that we definitely want our suppression staff to know all the buildings on campus, where the standpipes are and where all this stuff is. When I worked up there, I had a long list of all the chemicals so that if anything ever happened, people would be protected as possible. And our crews need to know all of that. But the idea that we would go up there and provide a service to them as the coordinators of one of they need to train, like we used to occasionally do, everybody'd go out to one of the event fields or something like that. They'd have these drills on campus. The idea that the district would be coordinating and being the leaders of one of them, maybe where we would say, no, we used to do that, but you canceled the contract, so we won't do that. I don't know how to square this, put it in a round peg so that we get the adequate training and that the students are taken care of and our crews are taken care of without being unduly taken advantage of by the university. At the same time, two wrongs don't make a right, and, the university wants to be, snitty, the idea, because what brought that on, if I recall correctly, was we as a board had adopted a policy that if 2 fire alarms went off or something like that, and wherever around town, whether it's a home or these different kinds of residents, so if they had too many alarms go off and we sent them a bill for $100. And rather than
That's right.
sending us a house, $100,
That's right.
they sent us this letter canceling the contract. So it's like, oh,
No, I think that, in my opinion, I think there were other.
yes, that,
Um,
right, but
So can I just list, since this is an agenda item, this is the list of things that were on that agreement. And the disaster preparedness services, fire prevention training, special non-emergency services, including but not limited to flood and storm response, smoke removal, electrical hazard assessment, animal rescues, non-emergency standby services, among other emergency services described in the agreement. The services also include the housing disaster drill and campus criminal multi-casualty training, which the district conducts on campus annually as part of Cal Poly's risk management program. Absent the agreement, the district would not provide these services to Cal Poly. That would be the October 11th, 2023 letter from the Arcata Fire Chief to the Patty Dunaway, Procurement Specialist, Cal Poly Humboldt. So to me, it's a choice. It's not I think the university made a choice. I would be open to see if that could be reversed. But we can't, as we're looking forward to trying to gain revenues, and we're trying to the staff engines, and we have this city within the city that's not paying its fair share. I think that we owe it to our constituents to work within the system the best we can to. I mean, it was a $30,000 contract, but still, it helped a lot. It helped, and it was something that we could say that the university was contributing. Obviously, they can't pay sales tax or property tax, and we get no sales tax. But university system just invested $500 million in this community, and we're feeling the stress of that because our fire district has to be able to service their facilities, and they keep getting higher, and we're not growing any. So in terms of equipment and also numbers of personnel and training, so to me it's a deeper issue.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I don't want our firefighters, our staff, missing out on opportunities to train either themselves or become more knowledgeable about the buildings that they're going into or the people that they're gonna have to deal with on the ground at any one of those. So my ask for this was just to clarify what the firefighters, what the board is saying is okay for the chief to go, to allow the firefighters to go up to HSU to do, be it training, anything like, I think training is the biggest thing. Whether we're training them or they're getting training or expertise.
Well, I think they did that. They did the roof, they had a couple buildings tear down and they got some training.
Agreed.
Of that.
They were invited, if I remember correctly.
Maybe we should
go up there.
I'd like to.
So
Want to say what?
So coming up, if you don't mind, I mean, I'll say something is, so Tony Freeman for the calendar, Tony Freeman, secretary and training captain, for the department. I think what you have in front of you is the decision you talked about with the contract, that part. And I don't know if I necessarily can give a good insight on the decision point for the board to make that decision point of what do we give as our contract services, specifically the drill of what that is labeled as. Well, I will say as a training captain, though, is we have and do training with Cal Poly a lot. Whether it's the new buildings already, we've been in there a number of times. The buildings that Assistant Chief McDonald was able to provide for us, we did roof ventilation and also interior work on 2 of them. So we were in there. Just recently, we participated in forced entry on exterior gates where they're locked and we're not able to use the keypad. Really creative way of using webbing and still being able to open up those doors. So we did that. We trained with our pack chest doing our fit for duty for wildland. They allow us to use the track for that. So we're up there, and we've also done elevator training with them with a number of elevators. So we are on campus. If we're not on campus, one of our goals is to do simulations. So we'll bring up a building that they have and do simulated attack in a classroom setting of their buildings. So I don't think this contract, again, for you guys to decide, it's not stopping training from happening. And it seems like it's a very specific training.
Okay.
But again, all training is good training. So I don't want to direct you one way or the other, just more of saying we are getting training with those, and each platoon probably has a different amount that they do, but I can speak on the behalf of the training that I run for our A platoon. We do training at Humboldt. So just to let you know that we do training.
Fantastic. Yeah, in my, again, my main concern was that you guys are getting training up there and that we are not hamstringing you guys by dealing with this at the board level, because I'm with Director Mendoza all the way. It would be really nice if talks were underway to get that contract back.
Sure. So I have a couple of things. Everybody has been bringing, one word keeps coming up, training. And what's best for our people. And I have some questions that I'm gonna bring up. You've already answered them, so I'm gonna read them anyway, so that the public hears them. We're taking part in trainings, and other events, assist our staff with knowledge, including but not limited to building layouts, best access points for buildings, safety issues that might occur, stuff like that. Yes, is that a yes? Okay, I figured that was gonna be a yes. I agree with everybody that's already said stuff. You know, there are things that we should definitely be billing for if we can. I like the idea of a new, trying to get a new, agreement with the university. That's something I hadn't thought about. And I also want to know, what do we charge for currently? What services do we charge them for currently?
So fire prevention, if he does anything with hydrants, it's a direct bill for whatever his hourly rate is for, you know, if he spent 1 hour or 3 hours, he does a direct bill for that. Barring going, really prevention is the only thing we bill for at this point. And that's what I was actually gonna suggest was, you know, if it's a training related event versus standby at commencement, like, in my mind, commencement is something we should be billing for.
Absolutely.
You know, hourly rate of a fire engine, or whatever it is up there. The drill itself, the housing drill, I know Ross and I both benefit from assuming incident command and working in the unified command system with their folks up there. That helps us. I would assume that it helps the engine companies pulling hose and familiarizing. If we were up there providing the disaster training, like, here's what you guys need to do, then I see that as we should be billing for that, as opposed to just be participating.
False alarms, smoke.
Depending on what it's classified as, if we bill for those, if it's a true false alarm and not an actual activation.
And you have, are they over there at your department head meetings? Are they over there at the department head meetings you have at the City of Arcata?
No.
Or is Cal Poly involved in
They-
that?
There's a separate Cal Poly City of Arcata liaison meeting, and actually I've recently just been, as of today, been invited to it, so to start participating.
Do you have anybody that you can reach out to up there that?
Yeah,
could discuss
actually, I've
it?
already connected with a couple of folks, chief of staff and associate vice president of risk management. That's who I've been communicating with.
Has that contract come up in talks yet?
We just chatted about it. I said, you know, is there something we can do to work together? And they said, you know, we can sit down and have the conversation. So yeah, absolutely. They weren't against it.
Okay.
Nothing was promised.
Right. That's all I have on this.
So would we like to, does somebody have a suggestion? Do you want to try and give the chief some guidance as to what we'd like to see happen, or?
If the chief thinks that what we have on paper now is good enough, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure that, again, we weren't being left out of things because on some piece of paper it was written down that we shouldn't be doing that, because they didn't renew that contract. That was my only concern. So, you know, if the chief is happy with what we have as official.
So to go back to like the housing drill, for instance, if we were to go up and conduct a housing drill, and we had 3 engines, but I had to bring in overtime to backfill, I would want to bill for that backfill. That's how my mind works on it. Yes, we'll send our on-duty crews, but I've got a backfill to cover here because the drill up there is causing a gap in our coverage. So what's causing the gap? The drill at Cal Poly. So that's how my mind would function.
One of the other things that went through my mind was somebody needs to be the bigger person. And I would like to see that be us. I'd see us be the better person, better entity. And so maybe you can start talking about maybe trying to get a new contract. Just see where it goes. But I am in full agreement that, you know, we should be charging them for everything that we can, but I want our personnel to benefit from the ability to train, to have those trainings. Do you guys have anything like that?
I'll jump in with, it's sort of tangential. But since you brought up the liaison with the university, I know that, when the city liaison includes both the city manager and one of the city council, I think it would be worth it to consider whether, if you join those liaison meetings, that the board president or vice president,
Council members don't go to those meetings,
they do now.
do they?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never been to one of the meetings, so I don't know who's in attendance.
Doubt it.
I've been told to do.
You've been invited to them? When is the next
Today, I
one?
was invited to the 22nd of this month.
So,
If it's not appropriate, then I will zip. But if city council people are joining that, then, if we should be able to find that out.
I was gonna ask if you can, if you're gonna go to the one on 22nd, if you can find out, and report back to us.
Yeah.
And let us know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll certainly ask. But I assumed it was at the staff level, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I just have to say something, Jason, you know, it's, we're not being petty. You know, a lot of this happened before you came here.
Oh, yeah.
19 pages of documentation here of what we tried to do. And we sent this was intended to go to the, you know, to me, it's all in Long Beach. You know, it's nothing's decided in Arcata. Everything's decided in Long Beach by the chancellor. And, you know, we sent this night, we hired a planner. We went through their project and it was totally ignored. And it involves the safety of our personnel. It involves the funding of our district. It boils down to our constituents are left footing the bill for it. So it's not a matter of we're being petty. This is the cold hard facts of what has happened. Now, I'm always open to reopening things. I'm hoping we can get past that. We have new people up there now, and I would love to be able to see if we can have a reset. But this is what we had thus far, and this was December of 2022. They canceled this contract in the middle of the year. And it wasn't just at the end of the year, you know, we're not gonna renew it. They whacked it in the middle of the year. So, who's bigger? I don't know. I would give anything to just hear from Long Beach. I would love to hear that Long Beach cares. It gives a damn about our constituents that we're here to represent. And that's what I'm hopeful for.
And I wasn't trying to say that we were being petty or anybody was being petty. I just thought it would look better on the Arcata Fire District if we kind of stepped up and were the bigger person out of the two agencies.
Well, I've been here for 7 going on 8 years and we've worked that a lot and I'm open to, like I said, hoping for a reset, but it's been the California State University system is running the show and we're just hoping that they'll grace us with their presence one of these days.
Agreed. I wholeheartedly agree with you. And it really does feel like David and Goliath.
It is.
A lot of time. Yeah.
And it's gonna have a tremendous impact on our future funding attempts, so.
And we do have a responsibility to our constituents. That I think.
That's why we're here.
We know, yeah.
That is our responsibility.
And I still do like your idea of maybe having, see the chief, see what you can get. If you think that would work, if you would be okay with that.
Well, as I said, I'm open for that, but it's, that would be a good gesture that since I used to go to all those meetings and I do know that they have the local, that's about to the extent I think of what the local administration has in terms of being able to do something like that, you know, after that it's Long Beach. So that's what past administrations have done and it was appreciated and we were able to tell our constituents, well, they pay what they can. And so to me, it's not petty, it's business and they made a business decision and our fire chief at the time sent the letter and if we're gonna change that, then I suggest we change it. I don't know how to change it because they're not playing. At least they haven't thus far.
But we can always try. I hope for the best.
That's why you're on that committee now and I'm not. Get someone new to try.
Is everybody comfortable with asking the chief to do that?
I think we just did.
Okay.
Okay, just so I'm clear, you're directing me to engage with Cal Poly, staff and see if we can come and find another contract agreement, something like that, work on the relationship and
Yeah.
finances.
What was the name of that? What was the name of that contract?
Yes,
Ancillary.
ancillary contract for services, I believe is what it's called, or something to that effect.
I wonder if that just came out of local discretionary funds.
I don't know.
It
You know,
was,
I mean,
it was
It's such a
agreement,
small number for them.
it was agreement number 1125-788. M is in Mary, Y is in yellow. And it was terminated under section 7.
Yeah, and just see if there's anybody, ancillary services contract. And it'd be nice if it was for more than the 30 grand that they just did before. Yeah.
All right. Sounds like we've come to the end of that one. Moving on to business item number 2. We'll be conducting a public hearing to consider adoption of resolution 25-333, finalizing the annual budget for fiscal year 2025-26. There are 2 attachments. The first one is the proposed final budget. The second one is the resolution 25-333, and exhibit A, the fiscal year 25-26 budget. Chief, do you have a staff note for us?
Sure. Pursuant to Government Code 13-895, the board is required to adopt a final budget after making any changes to the preliminary budget no later than October 1st. The board adopted the preliminary fiscal year 25-26 budget at the June 10th, 2025 meeting, regular board meeting. Since that meeting, staff have been able to refine projections to reflect more exact revenue and expenditure calculation for this fiscal year. The following is a total summary of changes to be included in the final budget. You want to talk about it, Wayne, or want me to go with it?
Yeah, so really the biggest, we were able to refine down a little bit on the revenues. But we were kind of waiting around on the expenses as far as the MOU and the contracts, and that's been completed. But we have, as in the June 10th meeting, we were at a deficit of 75,000. That's still maintained a deficit of 75,000. But that is worst case scenario, and we have grant opportunities that are out there that are coming up that's going to close that gap down fairly soon.
Thank you, Chief and Chief Peabody. At this time, I will open up for board questions to staff.
Just so I know, if you could refresh my memory, do we have a budget deficit last year?
Oh, we did.
We actually had a surplus of $50,000 last year.
I think the first round, we were looking at like 120 or something.
The projections were red, but.
Yeah.
And you said this is worst case scenario?
Yes.
What's best case scenario?
We're in the positive by the end of the budget cycle.
Do you have any numbers to, like,
I do not, but knowing what our guys are doing, everybody has collateral duty. There's been some increases in budget items due to new standards that are coming around. But all of our troops last year have done amazing in maintaining their budgets and or saving money for the district. So there is a cost benefit that like don't add into this because you never know what's going to happen at the end of the year. And then on top of that with the grants. So there's we've done very, very well the last few years on that, but I add in capital purchases that we currently have grant opportunities out there right now for. And one of which is the health and wellness. That is in itself a $50,000 grant. that almost closes our gap, and we should hear on that tomorrow. Or sometime this month.
Is this deficit, is this a trend? Do you see this as a trend or a one-time thing as far as going forward? Or can you even?
I can't really do that. However, I see us, as the assessments and the special taxes, we've kind of hit the top, and now we're kind of trying to maintain, and as costs still projecting going higher, we are gonna start going down a little bit, projecting forward.
So with our old equipment, I don't see are we staying within budget with our old equipment?
Yes, Chief McDonald and, Engineer Butler have been very good lately on getting the old equipment back into shape. We had a lot of years of deferred maintenance, and they've been working at getting everything back into shape. Once again, we just got new extrication tools through another grant opportunity, which updated us a bunch on that. Chief McDonald's been maintaining the equipment, getting that back up into shape the best that we can. And the troops have been maintaining the equipment, in-house and are treating it very well.
That's great. Do we have a parts engine yet, or are we,
Not yet. Well, we kind of do, but it's our reserve engine, but it kind of rotates in and out.
one and the same.
Yeah, it kind of rotates in and out, but, I do know that our new engine, they're having a pre-build meeting end of this month.
Yeah.
So it should be built out here in another 6, I think. So hopefully we will be able to have our new engine in-house here in another 6 to 8 months.
will it fit in this building?
Yes,
This one.
it will fit in all of our buildings.
Even Mid River?
Have to let a little air out, but it'll fit.
Dig some holes.
All right. Also, the task force that you were a part of is gonna bring in some revenue, I imagine?
Yes, out-of-county assignments and the use of, district's vehicles will bring in some revenue for us.
Go ahead.
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions either. So at this time, we will open up to general public comments regarding this. Any general public comments? Seeing head shaking in a negative manner. So now we will move over to board deliberations. If anybody wants to discuss further? Or does somebody want to make a motion?
I move we adopt the fiscal year 2025-26 budget as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Will the clerk please call roll?
Director Maynard,
Yes.
Johnson absent, Director Mendoza,
Yes.
Director Loudslider,
Yes,
President Akana,
Yes.
okay, motion carried.
Thank you. And moving on to district business item number 3, another public hearing to consider ordinance 25-23, adopting the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code and 2024 International Fire Code with certain local amendments. There is one attachment. That's the ordinance 25-23, adopting the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code, Title 24, Part 9, based on 2024 International Fire Code. Chief, do you have a staff report, please?
Yes. This item involves consideration of an ordinance adopting the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code and 2024 International Fire Code with certain local amendments and additions. Every 3 years, the California Building Standards Commission publishes model codes such as the California Fire Code, Building Code, Mechanical Code, Plumbing Code, etc. Once published, local agencies have 180 days to make additions or amendments based on local conditions. If no changes are made during this 180-day window, the model codes become effective. Based on the 180-day cycle, the district has until January 1st, 2026 to make local changes. For the last several code adoption cycles, the Humboldt County Fire Prevention Officers have met and cooperatively reviewed the model code. This proposed ordinance represents a cooperative effort to develop standard ordinance language While some minor changes occur between jurisdictions, the end result is a more consistent cooperative approach to fire safety issues, making it easier for contractors and developers to work with each jurisdiction. Following tonight's public hearing, the proposed ordinance will be brought for final adoption at the next regular board meeting, and take effect 30 days from the date of adoption. Summary of the text of the ordinance: other than the new code references, there are no significant changes in the proposed ordinance language as compared to the last ordinance in 22 and 21, adopted by the Board of Directors in November of 22. The fire code is arranged and organized to follow sequential steps that generally occur during plan review or inspection. The 2024 International Fire Code, which California adopts with amendments as the 25 California Fire Code, has again been organized into 7 parts. Each part represents a broad subject matter and includes the chapters that logically fit under the subject matter of each part. The 2024 International Fire Code was organized to allow for future chapters to be conveniently and logically expanded without requiring a major renumbering. Therefore, this code adoption is, as in past adoptions, results in some renumbering. Proposed changes to the Ordinance 2523 include, but are not limited to, 6-inch address numbers, except for 1 and 2 family homes, mobile homes, exception existing visible numbers. In multi-tenant buildings, requirement for 2-inch numbers on individual tenant spaces. Again, existing visible numbers are the exception. Knox boxes are required on new buildings with sprinklers, alarm systems, or elevators installed. Knox boxes are required on existing buildings when new sprinklers, alarm systems, or elevators are installed. And the deletion of 1 sentence that requires the posting of determinations for applications for special permits in the fire marshal's office. Typically, the board conducts the public hearing on a proposed ordinance at the time of introduction and first reading. California Government Code sections 50022.1 et seg requires a slightly different procedure for an ordinance that is adopting another code by reference, as is the case here. When a code is adopted by reference, the public hearing must be scheduled for the first reading, such as at the time of the second reading adoption. Staff recommends the board hold a public hearing considering the draft ordinance, discuss and direct staff to place ordinance number 25-23 at the next regularly scheduled board meeting for adoption of the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code and 2024 International Fire Code with certain local amendments. And you can see the ordinance is attached, and we can read it by title.
Should we read it, or do you want to read it?
Oh, but I can read it if you want.
We can read it by title only.
An ordinance of the Arcata Fire Protection District adopting the 2025 California Fire Code, Title 24, Part 9, based on the 2024 International Fire Code. So at this point, we just set it for a 30-day.
Yeah, you just need to direct us to place it, and say, open the public hearing for it.
Is the public hearing at the next meeting?
No, it opens down here.
Well, no, it says right here,
Recommends the.
when a
whole-
code is adopted by reference, which isn't this being adopted by reference? The public hearing must be scheduled after the
Oh, you're
first
right.
reading.
You're right,
So tonight's the first reading,
that's right,
so the public hearing would take place in
at the next one.
at the October 14th meeting, correct?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
We talked to the fire marshal on this one.
I'm just making sure, I'm looking down the road, making sure everybody's reading the same way I am.
But we still have to open it for public comment.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm gonna open up to the board comments first.
And then,
I have none.
Neither do I. Members of the public. Jeez. Back to the board. Any comments? Okay. Anybody have any thoughts?
I move that we direct staff to place ordinance number 25-23 at the next regularly scheduled board meeting for adoption of the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code and 2024 International Fire Code with these certain local amendments.
Second. With a motion and I'll add something in there real quick. I did count to make sure the 14th is 30 days out at least, and it is. So with motion and second, will the clerk please call roll?
Director Maynard?
Yes.
Johnson absent, Director Mendoza,
Yes.
Director Loudenslider,
Yes.
President Akana.
Yes. Find the right page here.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving on to district business item number 4. Adopt resolution 25-334 with exhibit A, approving the memorandum of understanding between the Arcata Fire Protection District and the Arcata Professional Firefighters Local 4981. There's 2 attachments. First one is resolution 25-334 with exhibit A. And attachment number 2 is the red line version of previous labor agreement with the 2025 changes incorporated. Does the chief have a staff note for us?
Sure. At the regular board meeting on August 12, 2025, the board received a presentation from the district's labor negotiator on the tentative contract agreement with the Arcata Professional Firefighters Local 4981. The Local 4981 membership ratified the agreement at their meeting in August as well. Staff recommended the item be placed on the September meeting's agenda for approval. Highlights of the tentative agreement are as follows: wages. The district will increase base wages as follows: 4% for immediately, and then effective first full pay period in January 2026, the district will increase wages by 4%. Again, in January 2027, the district will increase base wages by 4%. Article 8, longevity had language modified to be compliant with CalPERS requirements. The language reads as, in addition to other compensation paid for the services of employees, longevity pay for continuous and uninterrupted full-time paid service at the district and or other CalPERS fire departments or fire districts shall be applied as follows. There is no change to longevity percentages per this MOU. This was just a requirement by CalPERS to make sure that when everyone gets to their endpoint, that it actually gets counted. It was a CalPERS requirement. Acting out of grade, agreed to compensation for a 10% increase of the hourly rate. Active side letters have been incorporated into the successor MOU. Sick leave time increased from 12 hours to 24 hours a month, retroactive to January 1st, 2025. Bereavement leave increased from 72 hours to 96 hours annually, with definitions of family members added. Article 21, pass-through pay, memorializes the method of pay to personnel on mutual aid, local agency agreement, assistance by hire, and California Fire Assistance Agreement or OES assignments, in which the district provides pass-through pay to the employee. The term is until December 31st, 2027. Staff recommends the board adopt resolution number 25-334 with exhibit A, approving the memorandum of understanding between the Arcata Fire Protection District and the Arcata Professional Firefighters Local 4981.
Thank you, chief. Any board members have questions, comments?
I'd like to comment. I would like to thank our hardworking firefighters, captains, engineers, chiefs, business managers, for being an incredible organization, working super hard. You serve our community really well, and it's tough work, and we thank you.
Thank you. I will agree wholeheartedly with everything Dr. Mendoza just said.
Then I'm happy we're all still friends. Got it done. Easy peasy.
Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to adopt resolution number 25-334 with exhibit A, approving the memorandum of understanding between the Arcata Fire Protection District and the Arcata Professional Firefighters Local 4981.
I'll second.
Motion to thank you. Clerk, please call roll.
Director Maynard?
Yes.
Johnson absent, Director Mendoza,
Yes.
Director Loudenslider,
Yes.
President Akana.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, guys. We have a really great thing going here, and it means a whole lot for you guys to be a part of this as well.
Yeah.
Okay, district business item number 5. Adopt a resolution, or adoption of resolution 25-335 with exhibit A, adopting a new master salary schedule effective September 9th, 2025. There's one attachment, that's resolution 25-335 with exhibit A. Does Chief have a staff note?
Sure. So CalPERS requires the board to maintain and approve all modifications to the district's master salary schedule pursuant to the signed MOU with Local 4981. The district's master salary schedule will need to be updated to reflect the change to the updated salary schedule. Staff recommends the board adopt resolution 25-335. The resolution will include adopts the revised master salary schedule with the above referenced changes and attached herein as exhibit A. This is essentially the formality part of it.
Thank you, Chief. Any board members have questions or comments? I believe we have to do this, right?
Yes. Because if we do one but don't do this, they don't get paid.
Right.
And they're sitting right there.
So I don't think, I wasn't anticipating much discussion, but I figured I'd turn over to my fellow board members anyway.
Nothing for me.
I'll entertain a motion then.
Do we need a motion?
Do we need public?
Anybody from the public want to say something? I don't think they're gonna want to say much about this.
Well, you gotta let them.
Let them offer. Hearing none? Anybody want to make a motion?
I move we adopt resolution 25-335, including the master salary schedule with the reference changes and attached as exhibit A.
One correction is 336.
Oh, mine says 335.
That's 335.
As of mine.
Mine said
On all of
336.
these,
Wow.
all the way through too.
Oh, so you're. gonna-
Wait, you're ahead, Chris. 336 is the surplus.
Oh, you're
item.
right, you're right. I flipped ahead. You got it. Okay, never mind.
I was-
take that.
I was-
You gotta redo the whole labor negotiation.
That's right. We know you've been here since 8 o'clock this morning.
Early, he gets here like 6:30.
So if we,
Did we get a second in there? Did we make a motion in there?
I'll second.
Will the clerk please call roll?
Director Maynard?
Yes.
Johnson absent. Director Mendoza?
yes.
Director Loudenslider?
Yes,
President O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
You guys want to chat about my negotiations, I'm gonna ask for a vision plan.
Second here. There we go. Got it. Item number 6 is adopting resolution 25-336, declaring certain items of surplus property and authorizing the fire chief or designee to dispose of said items as outlined in the surplus property policy and guidelines. There are 2 attachments. First one is resolution 25-336. The second one is exhibit A. We have a staff report, please.
Sure, this is something we pretty much do annually. As part of our capital improvement programs, the equipment listed below has reached the end of its service life or is no longer serviceable. New equipment has been acquired and placed into service. Much of that was funded by Measure Z. The district board has adopted a surplus property policy and guidelines. It is pursuant to this policy. Staff is requesting that the board consider and approve the attached equipment as surplus. Staff recommends that the board review the information, take public comment, discuss and approve resolution 25-336, declaring the item in exhibit A to be to the resolution as surplus property and authorize the fire chief or designee to dispose of said items as outlined in the surplus policy guidelines.
Thank you, Chief. Do any board members have questions or comments?
Is most of this stuff destroyed?
So
The hoses and stuff?
it's again,
The hoses in particular? I mean, do you sell them off or?
well, most of this isn't even serviceable anymore. You know, if there's an agency out there, one of the smaller volunteer agencies, if they had the same type of, I'm just using this for example, the SR20 pump, if they had that needed parts for it, that's what they would be able to do with it. But most of this isn't even serviceable.
Any other questions, comments from board members? public? Still none. All right. Hearing none, does any board member want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the resolution 25-336.
Or second?
Second.
With a motion and second, will the clerk please poll?
Director Maynard,
Yes.
Johnson absent, Director Mendoza,
Yes.
Director Loudenslider,
Yes,
President Akana.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to item number 7. This is a discussion of the City of Arcata local coastal program and also an update. Chief, do you have a staff report?
Sure. Director Loudenslider requested that the City of Arcata local coastal program update be placed on the agenda for the September meeting for discussion. The City of Arcata will be updating the local coastal program. This is a broader component of the city's general plan. The LCP provides policy framework and development for land use in the coastal zone. Director Loudenslider is requesting the topic be discussed as the impact the update will have on the Arcata Fire Protection District. The process to update the LCP includes an open public hearing process conducted by the City Council of Arcata that, it should have read that it originated, I believe it was in May, and then it was continued until October 15th, 2025. It was April that it was actually, and it was continued to.
Thank you, Chief. Do board members have questions or comments?
well, I'll take over, I need to take over
Yeah.
from here.
Yeah.
So Coastal Commission, California Coastal Commission has jurisdiction over buildings in the coastal zone. And a portion of Arcata and particularly a large portion of the Gateway area is in the coastal zone. And so to implement and the land use, the zoning that goes on there has to be approved by the Coastal Commission. And the city does that through a local coastal plan. And the city has updated theirs and is getting ready to submit it to the Coastal Commission. Where this bears on us, and I don't know, did you guys get the court case?
I think so.
Yeah, there should be a couple.
There should be a couple up there. So I became aware of this last year when this appellate court case was handed down. But the long and the short of it is a local group, Humboldt Alliance for Responsible Planning, sued the Coastal Commission over a number of issues, but it was suing them over the plan to build a 5-story hotel at the Sherry Heights Casino up in Trinidad. And they identified a whole series of items that they thought that the Coastal Commission didn't do correctly. The judges threw out most of that, but one of the items that the plaintiffs brought was a lack of public services, and that the Coastal Commission did not adequately consider fire protection in that 5-story building. And the long and short is that the appellate court found in favor of the plaintiffs and has remanded that permit approval of that back to the Coastal Commission for reconsidering fire safety as one of the elements in public services. And on mine, I've highlighted it in pink. But the critical text for me is on page 24. So everything that the court says with regard to fire is in your handout. But the final few sentences above disposition, and I'll read it. It says, because they talk all in here about whether CAL FIRE and Trinidad Fire and whether Arcata Fire has a truck and all those sorts of things. But down below, it says, moreover, the presence of fire hydrants, sprinkler systems, and other fire protection at the hotel does not answer the question of whether there would be anyone qualified, equipped, and available to combat a fire should one erupt at the 5-story hotel. And when I read this, court decision, this is the first time that I've seen something where there was actually a legal precedent established that there needed to be more than an agency present, that the court's actually saying that agency has to be capable of dealing with the flares that could break out there. And in the coastal zone in Arcata, they're talking about 4 to 7-story buildings. And I think we've decided, we've been told by our experts, that we don't have the staff, the equipment, and the training to put fires out in those businesses or in those buildings. And it's actually the district and board's legislative prerogative to make a determination that we don't have that capacity. And I think we should do that and communicate it to the Coastal Commission. So what I don't know, and I think we either need to get a planner involved here or get our attorney involved here. So, because I don't know what steps take place. I don't know. So the city started working on updated their local coastal plan, months ago, and it's actually gone through staff revisions with the coastal commission staff, local staff, and it's as Greg Daggett said, it will be up for presentation and a public hearing in October. But I don't think I'm particularly interested in comments to the city. So that'll be a public hearing at the city about what the city might do or change it. What I'm interested in and what I don't know is when the Coastal Commission actually hears it and how they put it out for public review and how we write a letter or not. We need to decide on that. But essentially we would be asking for either conditions or ask the Coastal Commission to deny the local coastal plan because it doesn't adequately provide for fire protection, which would be part of the public services. So at this point, it would be giving chief instructions to consult with either planners or our attorney on how best to figure out both the timeline, because it's getting closer, and the actual process of who we need to communicate to. And my purpose would be to try to get the city to engage in a more active role and realizing that we, as an entity, need them to step up and be an active participant in figuring out how we're actually going to fund adequate fire service for protecting those buildings and the residents.
I have a couple thoughts.
Okay,
My first thought would be to maybe have you and the chief go talk to the coastal commission staff, since they have an office in Eureka. That might, I don't know if that would be a beneficial meeting or not, but that might be one place to start. I think that we've had discussions with the planning department, with the city, and with the planning commission. The other thing is that we did have a planner, the planning, and I forget the name of the company that we had that put together our 19
Plan
page.
West, was it Plans West?
That wasn't Plan, I don't think it was Plan West.
It was John Miller. I thought it was Plan
Was he
West.
with Plan West? I think I would have, but that's who we would want. I would, since if we can get John Miller, do a quick contract with him, because, he's familiar. He's the one that did the 19 page thing, and he's very familiar with our situation. I think it would be worthwhile to look at, because, it is a shame that our fire district has been apparently left out of this process. I think there's some training to do, that we need to get our sister agencies and the county and the city and the university to remember us somehow, to bring us into the table when these things are being discussed. I think we have to be there. And, I don't think they're used to inviting us. But that would be.
Well, it would be motivation for the city if they were told that they couldn't build 7-story buildings down in the Barrel District until there was money in the pot to hire firefighters and update facilities and equipment and apparatus. And we're the authority. And you're the experts and we're the legislative authority. So if the coastal commission asks, we tell them we don't have it. They hold the city to the standard that they're holding, that appears being held here. It would perhaps create some motivation to find dollars.
Yeah, I'm just thinking more, maybe planning is a very complex issue, and I think that we need help with this.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I'd be willing to go with the chief, or someone else can, to talk to the coastal commission, but ultimately, I'm not qualified to write a letter to the coastal commission that would achieve legal standards that would motivate them to, slow something down or send something back.
We currently don't have a contract probably with John.
Oh, no, I just looked him up, it shows that it's with Plan West Partners.
Is he with Penn? So,
Yeah.
so, I would say, I appreciate you catching this. I would say maybe something, would you entertain a motion along the lines of directing the chief to reach out to Plan West and to set up a, little mini contract for advice on this issue, and proceed from there, rather go talk to the coastal commission staff. The coastal commission staff has a tremendous amount of power. They literally do whatever they decide, what the coastal commission itself sees. And, but I would be interested in seeing how if we can get a planner to help us, what that advice would be and how to approach them, because I don't want to burn our bridges with the city. We have been talking about this. I mean, the city has brought us, the city's invited us to the table. Maybe not all of the department heads have it, but the city council and the city manager, they've given us a seat at the table, and that process is slow, and we've been there. Unlike the university that just planned anyway and bulldozed over the top of us and built their 7-story building and placed 1,000 kids or 800 kids into the building before we even had anything to say about it. So I want to proceed gently, I don't want to burn our bridges with our partners at the city because I don't want them to start lawyering up I want them to work with us.
Yeah.
Because I think they want to work with us, they want to work with us, I know they do. So I would say, so that we can talk with them, in the appropriate context, I think we need a planner on our side.
So you made a motion.
Well, no, I threw out an option, I mean, to see, what would you say about a motion?
I think it's part of what you said.
So I have one question, and this is a point of clarification for me. To expedite the process instead of having to wait until next, because if I go and establish a contract with, whatever, John Miller and Plan West, it would have to come back at the next board meeting, but can I establish one that is under my spending limits as the chief without coming back to the board, or like if you were to set a limit on it?
Yeah, we could do that because, we have a history of working with them and this is a board action, it's a part of the thing yeah, I don't think that's a problem.
Okay.
Because we've already known that they qualify as a vendor.
As long as they don't
because
cross that threshold, it's all good.
They have the insurance and. So, do you want to do the motion? Or you want me to do?
You're on a roll.
Okay, so I
I like
move,
what you said already.
let's see how, we can change this. I move that we direct the chief to reach out to Plan West Partners and specifically request John Miller, who is familiar with our situation. And, if so, we would, ask if they could, assist with this issue. I would like Director Loudenslater to be involved in that as well, because he's well versed in it. And I would say, we should what do you want to put a $5,000 amount?
That's I think that's the limit I can spend up to.
So, we could increase, I think 5,000 should get us through the month. If you want to up it, we can revisit it.
Okay.
And, Paula, did you want me to focus the word salad a little
I
bit?
think that to reach out to Plan West for assistance, $5,000.
I like it.
Yeah, assistance with the fire district's representation on the local coastal plan. And, yeah. That can just, how's that sound?
I think it sounds great. I'll second it.
With motion and second, will clerk please call roll?
Director Maynard,
Yes.
Johnson absent, Director Mendoza,
Yes.
Director Loudenslager,
Yes,
President O'Connor,
Yes.
motion carried.
Good job, Randy.
Good call on that.
Both of you. Moving on to district business item number 8. This is on at my request. Is this the board meeting calendar modification discussion? Do you want me to read the staff note or do you want to?
Either way.
So I requested this be put on regarding potential modification of the board of directors regular meeting calendar. In speaking to the chief, we did reach out to the our district council, sorry. And the soonest anything could be modified would be December. But I wanted to bring it onto the board now because, well, I'm just going to read this. Board policy manual outlines the dates, times, and locations for regular board meetings. Article 7, Section 7.1 states, regular meetings of the fire district board shall be held at the Arcata Fire Station, 631 9th Street, Arcata, on the second Tuesday of each month at 5:30 p.m. unless specific action of the board, state legislation, or governor's executive order. California Government Code Sections 54 and 950 et sec, the Brown Act, and specifically Code Section 54 854 subsection A defines regular meetings as meetings occurring at the dates, times, and locations set by resolution, ordinance, or other formal action by the legislative body, and are subject to 72-hour posting requirements. California Government Code Section 54-956 defines a special meeting as meetings called by the presiding officer or majority of the legislative body to discuss only discrete items on the agenda under the Brown Act's notice requirements for special meetings and are subject to 24-hour posting requirements. The law requires regular meetings not be deviated from for regular business and that regular non-urgent business not be addressed during a special meeting. Following the adoption of the resolution, regular meeting dates cannot be changed and replaced with special meetings. The date and time of regular meetings must be established by ordinance. Changing the dates of regular meetings required ordinance change. So we have, or I recently have had some changes in childcare, where Mondays and Tuesdays do not work good for me. And I wanted to start a discussion now with the board. I know my fellow board members and I wish Director Johnson was here because I know she has young children as well. I want to start the discussion and find out how each of you would feel about switching days and how that would impact each of you. I want to make sure we're not impacting people too much. So I'd like to hear from each of you if you have any thoughts and feelings.
Won't impact me, although I think we can't do it until December.
That's
fine.
agreed, yes.
But if you want to change the date, it's not like we have a crowd of people filling our meetings. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It would be the same. It would be the same. What date were you, day of the week were you talking?
I was, well, I wish Director Johnson was here, so I want to hear from her. I want her input too. Since she's not here, I will reach out to her and find out what.
Well, that has to be an agenda item anyway for the December. It's usually the December meeting that's an agenda item, and that's when we usually have that discussion, but.
Yes, I was gonna try and put it on, for November, but, the soonest we could do it the soonest change we could see would be January anyway.
Right.
So it doesn't really make sense. I was gonna try and put it on the November meeting, but, just changing one date doesn't make sense to me at this point.
No, it would be for the calendar 2026, so it wouldn't be
Yeah.
effective until January anyway.
Well, I had talked to the chief about trying to make it effective in December, but that doesn't make sense to me to do for 1 month.
I don't think you can, you could spend $500 with the attorney to tell us that, but I think it's statutory. The regular meeting is set once a year. All the agencies I've worked with, they set it for the new year, but,
So it can be done just by ordinance, but as President Connor said, it would essentially, by the time it worked its way through the process of, making an agenda item, discussion, vote on it, it would just be the December date that would end up being changed.
So because it will only be 1 month in this year, I'm not looking at changing it until 2026. But I did want to make sure that nobody else was going to be impacted negatively.
well, it's nice to know. If you could pick a date, then we could, or a day a week, Fridays.
I was thinking either the second Thursday or the third Wednesday.
The second week would be easier for me to remember.
So the second Thursday?
When's the McMack meeting?
It's the fourth Wednesday.
Fourth Wednesday. Are there any other meetings that?
That was last night.
No. Tomorrow? No.
The other thing that we need to say is that our staff is here all day long. They're here early in the morning and then we have them here late in the evening, and I think we really need them to be honest with us as to how that fits into their schedules, because they're the ones that have to be here. we're basically doing a double shift, and if there's something the next day, you know, that could be really difficult. I've been in that position before, and I really want to make sure that whatever date if we do change, that it works for our staff.
Not Fridays. Or Mondays, yes.
Or
Not Fridays,
Or
Mondays.
McMac
Or
meeting.
McMac nights.
That would be.
Do any members of the public have any comments?
Yes, sir. We'll be here whatever day.
And before we make any decisions, I do want to hear from Director Johnson. I know she may have issues with childcare as well. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, doesn't matter to me. I would prefer you keep it the second week, rather than the third week.
It says retired guys can't remember that long.
Yeah. And
Don't put me in that group. I can remember stuff.
if I recall correctly, we actually announced the dates in November and then finalized, so we do like a public hearing kind of thing where we go, here's the proposed dates, have a public hearing, and then we approve them in December. So, the schedule of getting this figured out for next month so that whatever gets put out at the November meeting is where it would, the final hashing would take place.
It would help me actually, because Tuesday's garbage night for us, so I don't have to go out and put out the garbage in the garden.
Country life.
Uh,
So it sounds like everybody would be okay with the second Thursday? Instead of the second Tuesday? Okay, but before we finalize anything, I do want to reach out to Director Johnson.
Well, we can't finalize it until that November meeting, that's on the agenda, likely agenda, but yeah.
But we'll have to get stuff set for the November meeting, because we have to talk about November, then vote on it in December, right?
Well, I think it's good that you bring it up now, because then that's when we bring it up and we can,
This is how much time.
it gives us time to think about it and to look, and it gives staff time to look at their schedule too, because sometimes it does create a hardship for staff. And so you give them time to look at their schedules. I don't know if there's county chiefs is on Thursday or something, or
Wednesdays typically.
Wednesday, or,
That's why we usually split the McMac meeting, because, I'm at County Chiefs and he's at McMac.
so,
Well, and, you know, I'm not the only board member with family, concerns, so I want to make sure that we're talking about it and make sure that nobody else is going to be negatively impacted if we make it for a Thursday rather than a Tuesday.
works for me.
There is Thursday night football.
It's
Yeah,
usually
still be
a
on.
terrible- it's
Still be
usually a
on.
terrible game.
Monday Night Football's better.
Get a TiVo.
So what I will do is I will reach out to Director Johnson. I will see how the second Thursday works for her. And I'll report back to, is it okay if I just report back to the chief? Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, because actually, I don't, the Brown Act doesn't include setting meetings and stuff, so I think that there's a little wider leverage in the Brown Act in terms of setting meetings and so forth, so. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't believe we need any action. Moving on to district business item number 9. This is the government relations discussion we've had ongoing on our calendar.
Seems like we had that discussion earlier this evening.
Yeah. Chief, do you want to read the staff note?
Sure. At the February Board of Directors meeting, the board requests to place a government relations item on future agendas to allow for discussion of ongoing items that impact the Arcata Fire District, such as community projects, relationships, and other government entities and future planning topics. Staff recommends that the board consider the information provided, take public comment, and discuss ongoing topics. No action needed.
Does any board member have any further discussions?
No.
No,
I think we have had some good discussion. I'll just throw in, I think we have had some good discussions tonight about ongoing things in the district and different items that are affecting the district. I am very happy with the discussion we've had tonight. That said, anybody else have anything?
No.
Moving on to correspondence and communications.
Sure. Well, the first item you'll see is from the Six Rivers Law, Masonic Lodge, number 106, sorry. And they have invited us, along with Arcata PD, to participate in a dinner they're hosting for us on 9/11. They did it last year. The on-duty crews will be able to attend and have dinner. Spouses are also welcome. And, yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be a good dinner event. They're also, a little bird whispered in my ear that we will be receiving a donation from, well, actually, the donation will be through the local. Most likely is how they're gonna do it, but yeah, directed for use for the district. And, that will be this Thursday. What day is it?
2 days from now.
2 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would suggest any of our personnel that can go to it. I attended last year. It was a great event, honoring our people that need to be honored.
It says September 8th was the RSVP date, though.
Yeah, we took care of it.
Or did-
So letter's a little bit, I mean, the packet's a little bit later, but I did take care of it, made sure we had enough seats.
so we can go if we want to go.
Yes. Let's see, you'll see there's some thank you cards in there for various things. Frost was the safety group that we worked with on the, air show. They were really good to work with, and we've got to know some of the folks now. Humboldt Senior Resource Center has a announcement here that they're looking for prospective members and volunteers who may benefit from our program. There's there's a conference coming up for, and I'm not super familiar with this one, I have not attended it, but it's the Golden State Risk Management Authority. So if there's anyone that is interested in attending that, they put the flyer out, and the annual conference is coming up. That takes me to the chief's report. So, report that the air show went well. Staff filled in the overhead roll and safety standby. We handled a 20-acre fire from the pyro show, which went really
Again?
well. Huh?
Again?
Again, well, last year it was only about 4 or 5 acres. This year,
Which way was the wind blowing?
from the northwest.
Huh.
Yeah,
I thought they planned for that this year.
well, kind of, sort of.
We got smoked out last year. and
Yeah.
we didn't this year, so that's-
When Wayne was out there, they were doing a good job with it.
We didn't have the problem again on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. So, get burned off all at once. Standards of coverage. So, obviously, we tried to hold a joint workshop with the city of Arcata, Cal Poly, and, the meeting was disrupted by protesters of a topic for another meeting prior to the work group's schedule. The joint working group meeting and presentation to be held, at 631 9th Street, at 3 p.m. tomorrow. It'll be here. Yeah, that's a go, and we'll be setting it up in here so that,
Oh, it's in here.
Yeah. Fire engineer recruitment deadline has been extended due to a lack of applicants. I think we'll update some information tomorrow, and hopefully that'll help out some. Grants, you heard earlier from ABFA regarding the, drone grant that we received, or they received. I don't think we've got any other grants that we've heard of.
There's numerous pending grants, but with that drone grant, I'd like to thank Captain Lillard because he jumped in on that, wrote the spec, and was starting to learn the grant world. So thank you for that, and congratulations.
Can we paint it red and white, put a little decal on it?
As soon as you name that thing, it's gonna get crashed.
Yeah.
Maybe some flashing red lights on it?
Air one.
Air one.
So we are gonna need to hire like an air traffic controller now, so.
First step to our helicopter.
Right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, Sonoma County's got nothing on that, that's right. All right, notable training. Crews have been doing walkthroughs and training at the new Cal Poly building. I can never pronounce this. Hanar Food Relief East, HHM is what we refer to it, yeah. They've been familiarizing themselves with the fire systems and the location and access to the fire systems in the building. I mentioned this before, the acting duty officer hours was 168 last month. The acting company officer hours was 192. So they've been very active in bumping up and supporting in the duty officer and acting roles. Notable incidents. So we had a vegetation fire out on Archer Road in McKinleyville. The crews were, actually, I think it was you guys, wasn't it? Yeah, crews were quick to knock the fire down. So it was a vegetation fire that actually spread to the structure, and it did do damage to the exterior of the structure. But they got on it right away. A lot of overhaul underneath it though, so they had to dig into the wall of the floor to try to get all the hot spots. Had a medical rescue in the Arcata Community Forest. Patient fell from the rope swing in the park. We went multiple times for smoldering silage in McKinleyville. It was a continuation of an event that started in July and it proceeded into August.
Hay bale fire?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
They're terrible.
We assisted CAL FIRE with locating a fire in the Green Diamond area east of West End Road in the Alder Grove area of Arcata. The fire was in the SRA and we were released. Unattended fire caused damage to a mattress and wall in a residence. Where was this one?
It was the Captain Gibbs and I off of, Samoa.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I did hear about that one. I just didn't put the address in.
Yeah.
We had a pretty significant injury traffic collision, 101, just north of Bayside Cutoff, 2 injured. Structure fire at a barn out on the 2300 block of Old Arcata Road caused by a lithium ion battery failure on a golf cart. It was a remote controlled golf cart that you wear like a tracking device and it follows you around on the golf course. What was fortunate about this one, albeit a barn, it was alarmed, it had security cameras, and that's what notified the residents in the house. And the crews got there middle of the night. They were able to quickly knock it down, which was good. I easily saved over $1 million because there was a lot of stuff in the barn, adjacent to the barn. And it was a large construction company that owns the barn, so saved their equipment.
Do you, just quickly, do you guys have procedures for lithium ion batteries in place at this point?
No, not really. I mean, we do the research on it. And, you know, whatever the weekly update is to how to handle them. I mean, a lot of it is either copious amounts of water or no water, depending on the week. And then burying them, it has been one of the tactics. Yeah,
What's unfortunate with this one, it wasn't even in use, it wasn't plugged in, it wasn't,
hadn't been used in over a year.
hadn't been used in over a year, so it's,
Yeah.
I think that's our fire prevention message
Yep.
coming up is gonna be on the batteries for our community to start understanding the hazards associated with them, which is gonna be really good, because I think it's
More and more electric
if
fires.
it's a new topic for us, I think it's gonna be a good one to get out for.
It's actually the national theme for Fire Prevention Week this year.
Is it?
Yeah.
And then what did you guys, did you just pull it out of the barn and?
Well, there was nothing much to pull out. It was burned.
It was already-
It was a pile of solidified goo at that
Crazy.
point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
How big are those?
The barns?
The batteries?
Well,
That one was a.
that one was probably about that big. Cause he had a second cart that was functional and the battery was gone.
you know, I have a power wall if you guys ever wanna come and train on it. And my neighbor has 2, so.
Like destructive.
Break it.
Well, no, the thing is that you can't cut the power to it. You gotta know how to cut the power to it because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to kick on when the power's cut.
Yeah.
So, you gotta know how to turn them off.
Like a solar system.
And I might not be there when you're, it's just something to train if you ever wanna train.
Yeah.
I can set that up for you.
Let's see, we had a vehicle fire up at Redwood Park, vehicle was a loss, no injuries. Assistant Chief Peabody was assigned as a task force leader to take out a local government task force to the Dillon incident. They saw some very active fire behavior while you were over there in the beginning, and he just got back today.
Is that why you guys are all tan? You're tan.
Let's see, there was an RV fire east of Blue Lake, engine 8218 and Chief 8201 assisted with that, fully involved fifth wheel trailer, was that Henshaw Flats? What's that, going out towards the mill? Yeah, that's where they always were. With a small spread to the vegetation. As you can see with fires, we're about 3 short of last year at this point. Medical calls were 43 above and total calls were 165 ahead of where we were last year, this time last year. Call volumes, majority of our calls were City of Arcata with McKinleyville close second. Our Cal Poly incidents were up, but it's kind of a somewhat of a misleading number. It was once we got the alarm system, or they got the alarm system worked out, I don't think we've had even a single call since they fixed it. So, 26% of our calls are overlapping, and our average for all calls response time is 4 minutes, 45 seconds. Annual service and install new scene lights on one of our Ferrari engines, one of the type 1s. And, we received gas monitors from Major Z. I forget how many we got, 16 total, I believe, that we distributed. We got our own and distributed to the other North Bay agencies. Fire Prevention Open House is October 4th at the McClellan Fire Station. This year's national theme is Charge into Fire Safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home. So, good timing. And you can see what our social media posts. One thing I do want to bring up, this happened yesterday in a discussion with the North Bay chiefs, and it's concerning to me. So the North Bay agencies, there's, I believe, 10 total agencies, which includes like West Haven, Fieldbrook, Blue Lake, us, Humboldt Bay, some over the hill that don't really participate much and don't have an impact on us, Neelan. So there was a request by one of the other chiefs to reevaluate our North Bay agreement because the way we are dispatched, it's essentially it's us, if we're going to an incident for us, us plus the 4 nearest agencies to us as part of the auto agreement. Problem is, what happens is we get to so many incidents or get dispatched to so many incidents that it was burning out the volunteer agencies that were responding to us. So they requested to not be dispatched on the initial launch to a fire for us. That being said, I mean, I understand where it's coming from, but it significantly impacts how many resources we're gonna have on scene on the first alarm, for lack of a better term, assignment. I was able to have a discussion with CAL FIRE today, and they are in agreement that they will add an engine on the initial dispatch to any of our incidents. So that's good. However, I did express to the group yesterday during the meeting that by waiting, what they're asking us to do is say, once we get on scene, request a North Bay response. It's a confirmed working structure fire. That whole process to notify the other 3 or 4 agencies that will be coming, that's added several minutes. And I used Humboldt Bay, for example. By the time the process goes from one dispatch center to the next dispatch center to the time they actually get on scene, you're gonna be looking at about 20 minutes before they even get on scene with us. And that, it's concerning to me because we just went from potentially, if everybody was staffed equally, we would have our 3 engines plus 4 additional engines on scene dispatched at the same time. We won't be seeing that anymore. It'll be our 3 engines plus CAL FIRE. And then once we get on scene, say, yep, it's a fire, we need the full North Bay response, then those other engines will get dispatched. So there's gonna be a lag time in that now.
Well, you said it's a volunteer, but that doesn't mean, so we're not gonna have auto aid with Humboldt Bay?
It'll be the same way. They're not gonna come automatically.
So we're not gonna go automatically to Humboldt then?
That's correct. It won't be unless they request us. So it's reciprocal, but,
Seems like they need us more than we need them.
it depends. It depends. What the argument from everybody was, well, you know, I guess the way they put it is we're the takers and they're the givers is how it was put to us, that we need the resources more than everybody else and they provide more to us. But I also look at it the other way, that when I hear the argument that one agency is 60% of the time they've got overlapping calls, but they also have 5 stations. Whereas if we have overlapping calls, it takes 2 of our meetings and we have 1 left. So that's a concern.
So is this coming, I'm sorry, I'm in volunteers, is this coming mostly from Humboldt Bay or from? Okay.
No, the original meeting request and conversation came from one of our neighboring volunteers.
Okay.
That, albeit they do try to respond as much as possible, but they're down on numbers for total volunteers. And essentially what their chief passed on to me is that our call volume is beating them up to come into our district so much and then get canceled.
And then, so my next question is that's theoretical in the past, call it 18 years, or 18 months, 2 years. How often is it that they just don't show up anyway?
So that was part of the discussion yesterday was, it was brought up that we call it UTF, unable to fill. So not only did they say, well, we're coming to you guys 90 times in the last 18 months. Okay, 90 times, but how many of the other times did you UTF not come when we did request you? Well, that's because you're wearing a set. So,
Why do it with, why change the automatic gating with Humboldt Bay then? I mean, why can't?
because it's part of the North Bay Auto Aid agreement. That was, the whole group was, the one thing Humboldt Bay did say that if we request for, or if it's a commercial fire, they will send a truck automatically.
Well, we have a contract for that, right?
Yes.
But do we want to have a special, just an auto aid agreement with Humboldt Bay?
We can explore
I
that.
don't know, it's up to you guys, I'm just.
Yeah, no, we can certainly explore that.
Just on that, Humboldt Bay has said they've been unable to bill depending on the call type and stuff like that, so.
They're
Even
triage.
with their 5 engine staff, if they don't wanna come, they're not coming.
Do they have 5 engine staff currently?
That depends on the day.
Yeah, because I saw that the one up, I'm sorry, up by the cemetery up there, at the north end, it was closed the other day. We drove by there. Yeah.
It just depends on the day with them, like, for instance, they had their engine over and since it's gone. And most of the days they would have the 4 stations, which is understandable.
So were they basically saying that even though the volunteer fire departments brought this up, they were kind of nodding their head as well?
Somewhat, yeah,
Yeah.
somewhat. I mean, their chief did say, he's like, if you call and request us, we'll come. They're just not gonna be on the immediate initial dispatch. So the initial dispatch for us now is going to be our 3 engines and Cal Fire. End of story. Then if we get on scene or dispatch receives additional information, multiple 911 calls, hey, there's fire blowing out of the back of the house, those Cal Fire captains will launch the other resources. But if we get, say it's a foggy night and we pull up, don't see it until we get on scene and then we see the fire in the back room. Then it's gonna be request a North Bay response. Then the other agency will dispatch. So you're gonna have that lag time at a minimum. The lag time is gonna be our arrival on scene, that driving time, plus then the notification, plus the turnout time of the other agencies.
And Cal Fire's coming from Trinidad, North Trinidad.
Now, the caveat to that is, at any point, our officers can request to upgrade the response. If let's say it's high life hazard, we're going to Valley West or one of the apartment buildings over there, we can certainly request it without any questions asked. So that's,
This changes, in my mind, our whole posture because.
Absolutely. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Why we, this is sort of how we justified having 2 firefighters on each engine. Now we don't have that. That to me is
No, it's a significant issue.
that's a really, in my mind, that's a serious. This is a
Yeah, well,
serious-
essentially what it does is it scraps our auto agreement.
Yeah, we have. I don't know, it just seemed like that's how we were able to get 2 firefighters on each engine to work, and now we don't have that?
Yeah.
Am I off base with that?
what we've got at this point. I mean,
So we're gonna be doing defensive fires.
very likely. I mean, I'm sure our folks will be aggressive and do what they can as soon as they get on the scene, because they always are, but, if we can't get a quick knockdown or a quick grab of someone, it's gonna change our tactics.
Yeah.
Any structure fire is all three, firehouses going at the same time.
I did get them to at least commit, them being the chiefs that were there yesterday, commit to November, December, let's reevaluate this and see how it's working, because I was not happy with the decision.
Well, they couldn't have been happy with it either. I mean, this sounds like a.
I-
I mean, are we the net user in this agreement? I mean,
That's kind of how it felt yesterday, was that we were,
The paper that they presented, so far for the year, we've had 90 North Bay incidents through CAL FIRE. That doesn't include coverages going into Humboldt Bay.
Yeah.
And 15 of them were for other agencies besides us. So
they're saying.
75 incidents for the year was just us, and most of them are canceled because the type of call that it was.
Yeah, and like I said,
doesn't Eureka have the exact same kind of, if not worse, type of alarms? But it seems like it would be almost the same, us going to them or them coming to us. It seems like the amount of.
I don't disagree. I don't, I mean, it is what it is, but
Well, maybe it's time that CAL FIRE puts a station so that they can handle their state property, because they have a substantial amount of state property in our district, so maybe we need a CAL FIRE station and should ask for a CAL FIRE station in our district.
we'll see what the reevaluation of it is, but it's definitely, we were talking about, it's very concerning.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that Humboldt Bay jumped onto that bandwagon, because it seems like
Well, they've
we're
been,
made for each other as far as responsive
they've,
in mutual aid.
a lot this year, they've actually triaged calls and told us they're not coming, because they hear it, vegetation fire, and I get it, just based on experience, our vegetation fires might not be, you're not expecting like what you would get over in Red.
Right.
You
Right.
might get a 50 by 50, and you're like, well, we don't need some of that. Well, maybe we're calling because we don't have anybody left at this point. It's not that we need you for a 50 by 50 square foot fire. It's because we have 3 engines committed on 3 different medical aids right now. Things like that.
When we see the calls go out where it says they need station coverage at the training class or whatever, however the wording is, I don't remember what the
Sorry,
exact
I
wording.
went that way.
Yeah, yeah, and they want, what is that, L Street? Do we ever call them for cover? And where do
Like
they
we did
stage at?
last week, huh?
Where do they stage at?
They go to one of the stations.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's this one, but it's where the gap is, they'll cover the gap. If they're available, and sometimes they're really good about it, other times when they're down on their stations, they're like, can't cover. Tim, Chief Citro called me the other day, we had the vegetation fire up in the community forest, and he called me, because he was listening that we weren't getting any coverage. 5 different agencies, refused to respond to us. And he finally, including them, and then he called me back. He's like, look, I'll send you an engine, but I need to know that it can come back. Like, you can take your engine anytime you want, but we just don't have anything right now. So he sent their engine over, and I think it covered here, if I'm not mistaken. And then, their battalion chief called, and he's like, hey, I'm down a couple of engines right now. I'm like, take your engine back. You can take them at any time, and we appreciate you coming, but trying to share resources. I mean, with 2 municipal agencies plus the state agency, we're the ones that are gonna be able to staff this stuff, but even when our municipal agencies aren't able to do it, that's a big red flag. And to me, that's a bigger issue than just us.
Well, we're gonna have to break medical aid calls or, a lot of ambulance companies run a supervisor unit to cover those sort of things too, they don't do that up here yet, but I've seen it in other areas where
They
they
do, actually, they do have a supervisor unit up here in Eureka.
do, but they don't up in our district.
Not typically, I haven't seen it up here, but I know they run it in Eureka.
I mean, that's the way we could break loose if we start breaking loose, maybe they'll allocate that
maybe, I don't know. Like I said, this just happened last night and, talking to Chief Gonzalez at, CAL FIRE, I asked him how we could add, CAL FIRE's Trinidad station in, or keep it, because if they could stay in the mix and made it happen, so they will be coming on our initial dispatch. So that's 3 bodies there at least.
Good.
More to come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Kind of a curveball.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, moving on to committee reports. First is Director Maynor with AVFA Local 4981.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Next is Directors Johnson and Loudspeaker.
Nothing to report. Well, we had our meetings earlier in the year and we're moving forward with the budget, so.
You've done your job.
And myself and Director Loudspeaker, and we've nothing to report this time.
Oh, I guess I got ahead of myself with the Chief's monthly report. You want me to do it again?
No, no, I just
Not that last
I just hit your roll. I figured, you know what, we gotta get to at some point.
My eyes are tired, man.
It's been a long one.
Director Matters, let's start at the far end. Director Maynor.
I've got a couple things. I may bail out early tomorrow. I'd like to go to that McMac meeting, tomorrow night. The second thing, I dropped my daughter off at school at San Francisco State 2 weeks ago on Monday, for her freshman year. And as we were moving her into her 4th floor, unit, the 12-story unit across, apartment building across from her, there was engine lights outside, fire engine lights outside. So I went over and looked around. They had a false alarm on the 7th floor. They rolled a battalion chief and his assistant, ladder truck with 5 people on it, and an engine with 4 people on it. So they had 11 people on scene, for a false alarm in less than 2 minutes, for a high-rise structure, on campus. So I just wanted to put that out there that, it needs it takes a lot of people. So, I thought that was a very telling show, of force for what they were doing. And I went over and talked to them and said, yep, this is standard small, response for us, because they pretty much knew it was a false alarm.
It was a standard small response?
That was a standard small response. Yeah, it was on it was on the 8th floor of a 12-story building. Yeah, the battalion chief, and they had a fire station right around the corner from the university. And they were there, like I said, battalion chief, his assistant, 5 men on a ladder truck, and 4 men on an engine. So, yeah, just wanted to put that out.
When they thought it was a false alarm.
When they thought it was a false alarm, and it turned out to be. Yeah, that was one fire station. That was the one fire station that they rolled, for that alarm. They were, all of those units were in one place. So, yeah. Just wanted to put that out there. That's
Well,
it.
you can tell them that tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
I will not be at the November meeting. Just a heads up. Gonna be in the Mediterranean.
Very nice.
Didn't need to know that. Healthy eating, but thanks.
Little night here.
That sounded like a brag.
Finally doing it.
All right, congratulations.
You can do by Zoom.
I'm gonna tell you about all of my vacations.
Along his lines, I probably will not be at the December meeting. I have some, stuff I have to take care of over in, another state. That's all I have. Does anybody have a motion?
I move we adjourn.
Let's go.
Granted.